What's up, guys? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast post-show analysis of Bethesda's E3 2018 press conference. I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Hi.
And #1 video game journalist, Andy Cortez.
Todd Howard's #1 man.
Yeah, I took his jacket straight off.
What the hell does that even mean? What the hell are you talking about?
It's late, man.
We just finished watching the press conference live with everybody. You can watch along all the press conferences with us at twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Or if you just want to watch them yourself and then watch our reactions later, you can do that by going to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Then we do this post-show analysis. Gray had a good idea. What we're going to start doing in this one is at the end of this, after we talk about Bethesda, we're going to talk about where it ranks in the press conferences overall.
Because we have a hit show called In Review where we end up ranking. Right now it's X-Men In Review where we rank all the movies. We might start ranking these press conferences.
No, yeah.
I think, yeah. But before we do that, let's talk about Bethesda. Initial thoughts. What do we think of this conference?
I thought it was really rough at moments. A lot of the middle. During the middle, I was like, this could be worse than E3, than EA.
You're crazy.
But like all that it really took was them to mention Skyrim and Starfield. Or
I
not
feel like
Skyrim,
that's a
Elder
cop-out.
Scrolls 6. Yeah, just like a short cinematic reel with a little title. I thought it was still not very good, though.
I feel like
opening with Andrew WK was really awkward, and
we were kind of enjoying it in the audience, but it was that thing of like, well, it's been like I think I saw Damon from IGN tweet. It's been 6 minutes and they haven't shown us a game or anything. You know what I mean? I was like, that's a solid point.
You know, it's funny because this I feel is a direct response to last year when they did the video message press conference, where it was on a stage and there was an audience, but it was essentially just a video playing the entire time, and everyone's like, "Oh, we want a press conference." And it's like, well, this is what you get when you get a press conference.
Yeah,
a lot of awkward moments, a lot of people that are on stage talking that probably shouldn't be on stage talking. And it goes back to the EA thing. Is like I love that they're putting the developers in those positions because these are their babies, but it's like certain people's job is to talk for a living, other people's are to make games.
Sure, but it's the same thing we talk about all the time. Is that sometimes endearing, oftentimes endearing, and this.
I feel like oftentimes it's not.
It blows up in
sometimes
faces.
it's endearing.
Here's, I think, the biggest question for this in terms of how is this conference? I think this was a good conference. But I think it's also just not marred. That sounds bad. I feel like there's two conversations to have of what did we think of the content of the conference in terms of our personal, our personal gaming opinions, but then also how is the conference constructed, period. And I think from a construction level, it was done really well. Where it was, I think, hey, Fallout 76, nobody knows what the fuck this is. It's completely different. We're going to walk you through this Q&A part of it. When it was like, okay, let's talk about the card game, Elder Scrolls Legends, right? It was quick. He came out, he talked about it, it was quick, it was over. Elder Scrolls Online, hey, we've done this. Somerset's out now. We're going to put this werewolf stuff in for that kid on Kind of Funny Games Daily. I feel like they came out and talked about Quake Champions and stuff that I think the majority, and I'm painting with a broad brush, the majority of people don't care about. The majority of our audience, for sure. More us don't care about, right? But they got out there, they presented it, they presented their entire portfolio, which you need to do. They did it in a succinct way where it was rare, as I'm looking through right now, right? I don't feel like any of these in particular overstayed their welcome.
I disagree with that. I feel like overall there were a lot of segments that were really tight, but I think it was not a tight presentation. And I feel like there was way too many things back to back that lasted a little bit too long of things that, quote unquote, don't interest everybody. You know?
Yeah.
And like, how they handled Fallout 76, I thought was awesome. That is the way that you need to talk about that type of game. But comparing this conference to last year's was so tight. The presentation was so on point. And I feel like what last year's lacked in surprise announcements, it was really just like, hey, here's the games that are coming. You already know, but here's a awesome way to see these awesome games. I feel like this one was like, all right, we're a little rough around the edges. Some moments work better than others. But there was a couple genuine surprises in addition to getting admittedly tame teases of Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. We did get Doom 2. We did get a new Wolfenstein. We did get more VR games announced and a new mobile game. Like, I feel like there was a lot of surprises of things we absolutely didn't know were going to be here. So I'm like, on that alone, I think this is a better conference than last year.
Interesting. Okay.
I just feel like the tall man from Rage from Avalanche. I guess something happened with the teleprompter, and I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about like that silence. Very, very weird.
Shout out to our friends at Devolver. As we record this live, I just made my appearance in the press conference. Our chat's flipping out.
Oh, fantastic. The Prey lasted way too long, I feel.
But I mean, that spoke to Prey fans, right? Like, Prey has an audience, and it's one of those Bethesda games that has that audience.
I don't know that the like comedy sketches that they had from that spoke to anybody. And that's being real.
The post-it note and then before it with the mimic.
Before it and all that. And
the
it's
mimic
just like,
we laughed at when it killed because it was like a goofy, weird thing. And it was like goofy, weird.
I don't know, man. It's just, again, I said this when we were watching the trailer. The tone fell off for what that game is. Even if the mode is supposed to be a little bit goofier, that went on a little too long when there was so many other weird moments like Andrew WK, the hypest man in the fucking world, being kind of cringeworthy. Like, that sucks. There should have been
that's who Andrew W. That's who he is. That's who Andrew WK is. He's a little cringeworthy. That's what
him.
He is. Yeah.
Andrew WK.
Yeah.
No.
What's cringeworthy about what he did there? That's the Andrew WK I know.
No. Sorry, he wasn't.
Oh, my apologies. You're saying.
His performance being without any gameplay at a game conference with super awkward cuts to the audience that's like, I don't know how to do it.
Okay,
like,
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about his performance.
No, he's fucking awesome.
Okay, good. We love you, Andrew WK.
Hell yeah.
You want to run through what got announced and go from there? So at the top, Pete Hines came out. We love Pete Hines. We called him on the pre-show.
Killed the game.
10 minutes
He's so
before.
fucking good, man.
He's really great.
I wish he would host every conference ever.
Sure. As you said, then Rage 2 came. It was the announcement of Rage 2. Andrew WK came out, performed, then they brought out the developers. We got to learn about Walker, the Last Ranger of the Wasteland. It's coming out in spring 2019. What do we think of Rage 2, gameplay-wise?
I think it looks great. I think it looks like frenetic and insane, and there's awesome abilities to be used, not only like superpower, but also just weapons, and I think it looks fucking awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to play it.
Tim?
By far, that was the best showing this game's had. Like, that was like, oh, wow, this looks really good. The lighting engine looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And it looked fun and interesting. I probably not.
I don't love vehicular combat stuff.
Yeah. See, that's my thing is like, I'm not trying to insult Rage 2 at all. I think it's definitely nice that I think Rage 1 was so middle milquetoast. Hey, it's got this brown palette. It's a shooter or whatever. It's beautiful. I remember Charles talking about how beautiful it was. Rage 2, even in this thing, I'm just like, all right, I'm not a shooter guy, so maybe that's just it. But I was just like, this doesn't seem to have the personality that a Doom has or a Wolfenstein has, and I feel like I'd be more inclined to go back and play those before I jump into this one. But that's just me. This isn't my genre. So I really, if it spoke to you on some level of this, as
slow moments of him walking through the interiors with the gun, I was like, this looks like Doom to me.
Yeah.
I think it looks fucking great. I think they did an awesome job, like showcasing what the combat could be.
Then it was Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game, coming to Switch, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 later this year. Right now, of course, free on PC and mobile. Your progress will carry over to the other versions. That's cool.
Stuff.
It's getting an overhaul. And again, it was like, hey, here it is. Cool. That's our thing. We'll see you later. Elder Scrolls Online came out. Yes, they are putting in Wolf Hunter DLC soon, which is a werewolf thing, which means that Shaquille guy from PS, Kind of Funny Games Daily, has to go up and play it because he wanted it. Somerset's out now. They announced Doom Eternal then. QuakeCon will be more announcements.
Fuck yeah, man.
That was a cool trailer.
I'm happy for that. You know, I predicted it. I didn't, again, one that I didn't expect. But
do we know that it's a part 2? Do we know that it's
the way they talked about it? It's a sequel. Because they were like, it's what you want, but more of this and this.
Yeah. Do you want to go to Earth and do you want to do this thing? Yeah,
cool.
So I think this is Doom 2, just with a different name. We'll find out more very soon.
Yeah.
But no release date there. Not even a 2019.
Yeah, QuakeCon. We'll see what they say about it there. Up next was Quake Champions. There's a free trial this week. Go get them. Quake Champion.
I did like the presentation. First off, I loved the set. I thought the arena style seating and the
overall for Bethesda,
super fun, cool. I also love that each segment kind of had its own like finding its way to the logo of the new game.
Yeah,
cool shit.
Okay. And then it was Prey's time. Prey came out, talked about a free update tonight, and it adds 3 new modes: story mode, new game plus, and survival mode. On top of that, there's the DLC Moon Crash, which has infinite replayability. This is available now as well. I'm unclear if infinite replay / Moon Crash is the survival mode, because I think that they sound very similar. They actually showed us Moon Crash of enemies spawn in different locations, loots in different locations. How long can you survive against all these different mimics and stuff on the moon? Seems like that'd be cool for people if they want to get into that. You were not into it, you said, or
no? I wasn't.
But you don't care about Prey in general, right? Okay. Then they had Typhon Hunter, 1v5. One player is the player in the game with the wrench. The other 5 are mimics. They get to mimic anything in the world and wait. We didn't see it at all. It sounds interesting. And there'll be a little bit more on that in a little bit, but that was something they showed there or announced. Cool. This is a weird one for me. But that's, I guess, always is, where really few of their games speak to me where I'm like, oh, I fucking can't wait to play that. Prey was good in previews. When I got home and played it, it wasn't bad. It just was like, this is a little too RPG for me right now. I love the fact that they're supporting Prey. I love the fact that they know it is a weird game that has its own niche audience, and we're gonna support it, and we're gonna let the studio make the stuff and put out new modes and put out free DLC and good on you. I like that they do that.
Good on you overall with all that type of stuff, because I feel like
that's
many
what
of
they
their
do
games,
best.
yeah,
they
they're
do
like,
best.
we're going to keep supporting the single player stuff.
Yeah.
Later, when they talked about Fallout 76, like, we're going to support this with dedicated servers for years, going back and giving moments to the card game and to Elder Scrolls Online and to Quake Champions, which, again, we don't give a fuck about, but they know so many people do. And even the numbers they're talking about the mobile games.
This is why Bethesda is one of these developers that, and I guess publishers, that has an audience that is dedicated to them.
Right.
Or that, you know what I mean? There's people who care so much about the Bethesda brand.
There's a reason why people work there for 20 plus years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And there's a reason fans care and buy everything they put out and buy all their clothes and want to wear, do all these weird things in these mobile games they get into. Like, Bethesda has its own culture you don't have to worry about. Then they talked about Wolfenstein. It's coming, of course, on June 29th to the Switch. They talked about Wolfenstein Youngblood, though, which is a co-op experience set in 1980s Paris where you will play as cooperatively BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters. It's going to come in 2019. That sounds rad.
That sounds
you know what I mean?
cool.
Everybody loves
Trailer was
Wolfenstein.
dope.
I played more of it than I thought I would before I fell out of it because it happens to me in shooters. But I'd totally be down to jump in and do multiplayer and co-op stuff. Yeah. Then they talked more about VR. They announced that Prey's Typhon Hunter, the competitive mode we just talked about a second ago, is going to be in VR, as well as they're going to do a single-player puzzle experience for VR. Then the Wolfenstein gets its own VR game as well called Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, where you'll be basically a hacker who can take over the Nazi machines and they control them that way. Then they had a funny bit with one of the guys from Key and Peele, not Jordan Peele. What's
Keegan-Michael Key.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was Skyrim on Alexa, Skyrim Various Special Edition.
Love the bit. It did go on a little too long. I don't care,
loved
though.
it.
I think it's
agree.
so funny that they would do that in a press conference.
This is when
Shout out to Bethesda, man. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah, Todd Howard's on stage, obviously, and he's making fun of the fact that everybody makes fun of the fact that Bethesda won't stop until
He embraced
it's on
the
everything.
meme, man.
I love they embraced the whole thing. Like Todd Howard making not Todd Howard, fucking Pete Hines making the joke about Walmart early on. Like that shit's
totally.
good.
Yeah, good on them. That was all great. And then it was time for the big boy, Fallout 76, to come out and get some much needed attention, love, and tell us what the fuck this is. Bullet points I wrote down, of course, it's a prequel. It's 4 times the size of Fallout 4's map. After 25 years in the underground, this is us coming out on Reclamation Day. It's 16 times the detail in terms of the map and the world when you're out there. You can see distant weather systems. There's 6 distinct regions you'll be getting missions in. It is entirely online. But then Todd did follow up with, quote, "Of course you can play this solo. It's open world, survival, and every character is a real person in there in terms of other Vault people you're interacting with." He called it softcore survival. It'll be dozens of other players in your sections, not hundreds, dozens. All your progression goes with you wherever you go. So if I go and play with Andy one night, turn it off, boot up the next day, and want to jump in and play in Kevin's world, all my progression comes with me. And apparently whatever I build moves with me wherever too. It's 100% dedicated servers. There is a beta coming, but most importantly, it's launching November 14th, 2018. There's an Power Armor Collector's Edition of it as well. Andy, what did you think?
I was not expecting to like the idea of a multiplayer Fallout.
Yeah.
Mostly because I've never really been a Fallout fan. I've never hopped in the worlds a whole lot. I just something about the vibe, the aesthetic just always kind of turned me off. But watching 4 different people having fun in this sort of playground of the Fallout world like really intrigued me, and I think it's really cool, and I can't wait to try it out.
Yeah. Tim, you've never been a Fallout guy.
Yeah, I don't really care, but I will say that looking at that, I feel like they're doing such a good job of addressing what seem to be a lot of the big problems with these type of online games, like the dedicated servers, the carrying
Smaller
your progression
out.
smaller, all this stuff. I'm like, it sounds like they're speaking to all the things you bitch about on Games Daily when we're talking about Division or Destiny or the games that you
an online game I'm playing where I'm having exactly I don't know. I really don't. Coming in, like, it was, oh my God, a new Fallout 76, great. And then it was the Jason Schreier article that it's online only, and it was like, dude, and it was building, dude. And so then when we start talking about it, and you from the top, it's prequel. It's this. It's Reclamation. Play by yourself. Okay. This sounds awesome. And then even when he gets out into the world and Todd's walking us around, he's like 16 times detail. And I was like, that looks awesome. And then it was like, here are the new enemies. I was like, that looks awesome.
Better lighting, better everything. Yeah.
And then it was just like, all right, cool. And then let's get in with other players. And like when he showed like they showed the first thing where it was a aggressive encounter where you ran and started shooting, and it was like, oof. To me, and I know this is some weird thing to say for some, Fallout's not a first-person shooter. Like, we always used to talk about it with Fallout 3, right? VATS was there because it wasn't a great shooter, and it was an easier way to get around. Fallout 4 improved on it for sure, but Fallout 4 never felt buttery smooth. It never felt like Doom, where I was like, even as a non-shooter person, holy shit, this feels great, you know?
Yeah, the chat was blowing up with this too, of being like, I don't want to shoot in Fallout.
I don't want to run around like and that's the whole thing is Fallout's been about conserving ammo and not, you know what I mean, trying to get headshots and bring up your crit rates. So watching it run around, like, oof. But then they got away from it and they brought other people in. It was like, okay, cool. First off, I love the HUD and everything that I know it's all temp now, but like the way they were displaying character names, levels, health and stuff like that. Oh, that's all right. That's cool. Running around, all right, we're doing stuff together. But even then, it was running around and it was like all these giant shootouts and shit. And it was just like, all right, I don't know how to feel about that. And then it was like, and you're not alone. You have to build and I'm like, I fucking hated building in Fallout 4. Like, it was like such a chore that I totally ignored the entire game, except for when they made me in the beginning and then when I needed the trophy at the end. And so, like, to see that be a major part of it, it's just like, oof, like, especially for me personally. And this is just a Greg Miller thing of, holy shit, a few hours ago, I just saw The Division 2. And The Division 2 looks exactly what I want The Division 2 to look like. And then to see this and be like, oof, why would I pick this multiplayer game over? And now, granted, it's November, so it's a different time period. But even like, I'm so excited right now to finish E3, to come back to play Division 1 with Andy and Kevin. Like, to see that and just be like, ooh, and I'm not trying to write it off. I hope I get to tinker around with it at E3 when we go down. I hope they show more stuff. I hope I get in the beta. Like, I hope for the best because I love Fallout traditionally. But it's one where I finished that and I'm just like, I don't know.
I feel like they were aware of all the problems that people had with building. I feel like they were aware they're aware of maybe that they weren't such a great shooter. I don't know. I think that maybe they know that they're good enough to improve upon those aspects of the game.
Yeah.
When I heard that Fallout 4 had building, my initial thought was like, that didn't intrigue me in a single player game to build stuff, but to be able to build stuff and have other people come hang out in my shit, like that seems more like, I don't know, it just seems to make more sense. But I could see why anybody who's like a hardcore Fallout fan would feel sort of like a little bit trepidatious about
one
this
of the
shit.
big things too is what you've brought up before in I think it was the earlier conference today for Microsoft, right? Of like telling a story in a multiplayer thing is so difficult. In Fallout, I think of it as a story-driven game of I'm given this quest and then fuck, do I side with the ghouls or do I kill all the ghouls and what does that do to the story and where does it progress, right? So if it is just like, all right, cool, go take down this thing of super mutants and it's you, me, and Kevin running around being morons talking about this and shooting them and I go back and I turn in the quest and I get the caps and it was just like, what was this? And again, this isn't me shitting on it. This is me very much projecting my own belief of Fallout. Now, on top of that, there is the fact that I love the Fallout games from Bethesda Game Studios. So maybe I'm going to sit down and play it and have them explain to me and be like, you know what? Okay. Or it'll start from ground zero and I'll build on everything I'm expecting. Because there's something cool, about a Fallout that doesn't end or that we all play together and there's main things to go out to. But that presentation finished and I was like, wow, I'm not fucking crazed for this right now. You know what I mean? And that's new for me to finish one of these and not be like, I fucking can't wait to get my hands on it. I don't know. We'll see. From there, we all got really scared because it seemed like Todd Howard was going to end on the Elder Scrolls Blades. Basically, a game they've been wanting to do forever, an iOS or a mobile game that he dreams of coming to PC, consoles, VR, and everything connecting. It's right now we're talking about though this fall coming to mobile. It's free. You can pre-order on the App Store and Google Play tonight. There's going to be 3 modes to it. Abyss, which is a roguelike thing of how deep can you get in these dungeons that are constantly changing. Then Arena, which is 1v1 combat. And then Town, which is the main mode that is your hub and it has your stories and it has your quests. There is a town building mode involved with hub there as you go through do that. You go to playblades.com to sign up and pre-order and all that jazz. But a first person on a phone, Elder Scrolls. What'd you think?
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, mobile gaming has never really intrigued me. Now, I would say, why wouldn't people just play Skyrim on Switch? But obviously, it's not a phone. But This does not speak to me at all. I could not care any less.
Yeah,
So.
I thought I have no interest in playing it, and because it's one of those, I look at that and my first reaction is like, well, if I'm gonna play an Elder Scrolls experience that isn't the traditional, I should really get into Elder Scrolls Online. And granted, we're a different audience. I know they're trying to expand it and like put it on different platforms and stuff. I think it got a laugh from us or maybe the room when Todd was like talking about how you can rotate in portrait mode. All right, that's cool that you've designed a game that can be playing on a phone.
That stuff super matters. I do like mobile games, and when it's in portrait mode, I much prefer it. That's why Pickle Blast I think is great because you can play it one-handed and it's designed for that. Having said that, like I feel like the chase to make a console experience on a phone, we should have gave up on that years ago. Yeah. Like people tried with Infinity Blade and all that. And
it worked. Infinity Blade was a huge success.
It was a huge success. Well, yeah, but like it was fine. Like being able to look back at it in hindsight, it's like we gave it more credit than I feel like we should have, just because it was like, hey, this isn't shit. And this is pretty good.
It did the job of like, this is something to do when you're waiting in line at the supermarket or some shit. But that's all it did, really.
I just feel like those experiences, I feel like Fallout Shelter is the right path for what they should be doing with mobile type games. And I feel like this is it's too ambitious for ambition's sake instead of actually going to be a quality experience that I think people are going to like.
Now, the ability to play on your phone against somebody in VR is like pretty neat, but I just don't know what the audience is there. Like, I feel like people playing these games would rather be playing Fallout 76 or, any other Bethesda game.
Jesus, I don't know what the hell that was outside. Kevin's looking. Not that we're going to do anything about it. I want to point out. What happened? Kevin, talk in your microphone and tell us.
All right. Somebody just went onto the little island where the train thing goes.
Yeah.
And like just plowed down the sign that says, "Hey, go around this."
Damn.
Oh my God.
Is it stuck there or they just keep going?
They kept going, but a cop's stopping them now.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
You called it. You called it out and I didn't say it, or I didn't have it on my list for some reason. Fallout Shelter coming to PlayStation 4 and Switch. Right. Also free.
For free. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Bethesda cares, man. There's so much little things like that I feel like aren't that big of a deal. But when you add them all together, it's like, man, these guys really like give a fuck about video gaming as a whole, with VR and mobile and single player and online. And it's like, it's all of the things.
100%. No. And that's what I'm saying of like, let me just finish real quick and then we'll get back to more thoughts. Starfield, then he was like, Todd was like, let's talk about stuff that's not right now. Let's talk about stuff that's coming in the future and he said next generation, right? But I think he means like consoles now, right? Or do you think he means the next generation?
I don't know.
I think he means next generation.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, Starfield
Dude,
is
to the end of this one. Like there's
I know.
There's no way that Starfield is coming out next year, which means it's probably going to be next gen.
Devolver's already over. So heads up, 20 minutes. Okay. So they said Starfield. It's their first wholly new original franchise in 25 years, and then Then he said the game that'll come after that, which is the Elder Scrolls 6.
Fuck yes.
And you flipped out for both of them, Andy.
I'm just so excited for Starfield. Like, space is the place, man. You know what I mean?
Space is the place.
Like it's just that dream of like living in the future and living in a space station and like. I'm just so stoked for this fucking game, man. Like, and I think it's just the vibe of Fallout that never intrigued me because it's just dirty and grimy and I never cared for it. But a Bethesda game set with a sci-fi setting, set like on a space station or going from planet to planet, I feel like Bethesda's gonna make what Star Citizen tried to make, the Star Citizen PC game that is still struggling and still trying to make this super ambitious game where you buy your own spaceship and you buy pieces for it and you go from planet and there's dozens and hundreds and millions of planets or whatever out there. I feel like they're gonna try to out Star Citizen that game, and I'm just so excited for Starfield. I don't know when the hell it's gonna be here. Probably never, but it's like what excited me so much about Mass Effect. Like I love Mass Effect a little bit more than Dragon Age because of just that vibe, and I'm so into sci-fi and I can't wait, man.
So back to your point then, overall as a conference, right? It again, it all speaks to what I'm always in a weird place with Bethesda, I feel, every year when we do this. And it's that thing of, wow, I don't play a lot of your games. A lot of your games just don't connect for me. And there's nothing, that games are art and all this different stuff. You have your different likes and dislikes. So I don't connect with you as a player as much as I connect with you as like, man, you guys fucking get it. you guys are running a video game company the way it should be run because you're all just video game people and you care about the consumer and you care about what you're doing. So it is the fact that, sure, a lot of these announcements maybe don't do anything for me, but I see how they do something for the Bethesda fan, which is why I think you look at our chat right now, or as our chat has been going, and you see man, this was not for me, or holy shit, I'm so happy. You know what I mean? And like most people are coming away with announcements, at least on some respect, they're excited for.
Yeah, and in regards to the final 2 trailers being the teasiest teases that anyone could tease, weird move for Bethesda. They've been a bit more reserved with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this game's coming in 3 months in the past couple of years, or even within the next year, something like that. That's more tangible, and it's weird. Like I was talking in the pre-show, I wonder if they kind of did this as like a fuck Walmart. Like
That was funny.
we don't want to leak.
Walmart jokes.
We don't want our shit leaking. Like let's own the announcement, even if we don't have much to say.
Yeah.
And get it out there. And like I know a lot of people don't agree with me. I really like the unicorn games. I feel like not every game should be that way, but I do think that having something to look forward to and kind of give updates over a couple E3s, like that's fun. I like the Death Stranding kind of thing. And then Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. If every game was that way, I'd hate it. But in a modern age where we only have a handful of them, I think it's cool that Bethesda has that as well, and I do think though that the Starfield did a better job. Elder Scrolls 6 at least give us a subtitle. Like that was I feel like that was kind of a neutered.
I agree. Yeah.
Neutered tease.
Well, I mean that game's so far away at that point, right? If it's the game after Starfield, like best case scenario, it's 4 to 5 years away, right?
Probably 5.
I still just think like. Put something out there. Let people theorize. Like let them start like talking. Have something to discuss. We knew Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. And it is nice to confirm things because that means it's in the pipeline, and that means that they know that we'll be knocking on their door every year. Like,
Come on.
I don't know if those 2 announcements were to sort of like say fuck you Walmart. To me, it's more of a we got to end the show somehow because
I agree with
we
that.
don't have really anything that's exciting to end the show.
I think
with.
I don't think they gave a fuck. Look at last year's conference. Now here's the things Peace.
I just feel like they're smart folks over there, obviously, and I think they know that Fallout 76 is going to be divisive. So you can't end on that. So I think I'm with Andy that it was something. Well, let's announce these things. Starfield's all but announced, and Elder Scrolls is all but announced. They know that's going to happen.
I think they could have ended on Fallout 76, especially because they had a release date that is this year. I think that would have been a strong November date. There's a beta. Bye guys. But then the fact
Andy's
that
nips wouldn't
they
have been
talked
hard.
about
No, man.
and again I feel like the teases at the end definitely added to they get points from me for making this a better conference.
Okay.
So talking about that, let's rank those conferences.
Rank them conferences. We're gonna rank 3 conferences. Right now it's E3.
All right.
Rank the. Oh, shit. All right. I was going for the second.
I don't think
version.
if I knew where the pen was for the whiteboard, I get the whiteboard going. But who the hell knows? Cool Greg takes them and he puts them somewhere for me.
Something tells me it's not gonna be too hard.
We can do the 3. All right, fine. Bring me the board and a napkin. Oh, I guess the eraser's here.
You want him to hold the board for you?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea.
Eric, you hold the board for him.
So yesterday we saw EA's conference. Today we saw Microsoft's and Bethesda. Now we're going to rank those conferences. Does anybody want to contest the fact that EA is dead last?
Dead last.
Dead last. You lost, EA.
Yeah.
You sucked.
I'll put a funny. You know what?
Every year, these fuckers.
Every year, these fuckers.
Fantastic.
We'll make it look pretty later.
Yeah, like
Andy can make a cool graphic later.
No, fuck.
I don't really want to rank them too. I want to put tiers. All right,
2.
fucking. Let's put God tier.
3.
God tier, good, bad, or horrible.
S rank. Everybody says Devolver beats all of them.
Yeah, well, I know.
Horrible.
Why are you trying? We got the numbers. The
Tiered,
numbers.
horrible.
All right. I can never. Is it I before E on this one? Tiered.
Before E. Yeah.
I thought you meant horrible. I thought you were asking about horrible.
Horrible. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Tiered horrible.
You know what I'm gonna do? This is the Tim tiered
Okay.
because I wasn't prepared for this. All right,
Okay,
I'm ready to
sure.
vote.
2,
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Wait, there's a.
Tim tiered.
Oh, I forgot we had Xbox today.
Yeah.
Tim tiered.
Put Xbox first. Number 1.
Xbox at number 1. Congratulations.
Xbox. Great.
Great. Yeah. Not fantastic.
Okay. And then Bethesda,
The old
Good.
TT.
good. So I guess I have 5 then. I have God tier, great, good, bad, horrible.
Okay. Now the question becomes this:
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to handle? Thank you, Cool Greg. You're dismissed for right now.
Thank you, Cool Greg.
Thank you. It's a wrap on
Everybody
Greg.
put up the Cool Greg hands in chat.
You know, Bethesda ended. We immediately rolled into our pre-show, our post-show for Bethesda. While it happened, this is why we didn't want to commit to do anything with Devolver. Devolver happened and is already over.
Yeah.
A 20-minute conference.
Okay.
Is that required viewing tonight to get then ranked over there?
No.
Do you want to suck it up and watch the 20 minutes now and react to it? No.
No.
Is it not even a real press conference? You don't want to rank?
Yeah, I doubt it.
What
based
do you
on last
mean?
year's.
Well, last year's was a press conference. They're doing it in a funny, cool way.
Yeah, I don't know.
You want to sleep on it? You want to think about it?
Sure.
I'm gonna watch it for sure tonight. I just want to make sure that it gets in there.
Okay.
It's 20 minutes. I don't know why you gotta hate on it like this. You know what
I don't know. I didn't really like the vibe of the
You didn't like it last year?
No, there's moments. It went on too long. And then-
Well, this one was 20 minutes, so you're
Yeah,
done. Yeah.
Still.
They
I think
learned-
last
they
year was
learned.
too, right?
Like I got the bit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
But they showed. What did they? Oh, whatever. We'll worry about it later.
Still the Gamescast reaction?
Yeah, this is still the fucking Gamescast, Kevin.
A lot of people seem to
Wait,
like
sure.
it in chat.
the Devolver one?
I liked
Okay.
Devolver's
Well,
last
then,
year.
Then we'll check it out. Well, maybe we'll see what's
Kevin
going
looks
on.
like a mess.
I'm
right now.
Ladies and
lobbying.
gentlemen.
I am lobbying for it to be a ranked press conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast post-show analysis for Bethesda's E3 2018 press conference. Thank you very much for joining us, whether it was live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, as a YouTube video on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, or on podcast services around the globe on the Kind of Funny Gamescast podcast. We'll be back tomorrow, bright and early,
Whoop,
for the
whoop.
Square Enix press conference. Right
Do
here on
we have a new
twitch.tv.
last place press conference? We'll find out in the morning.
No way. There's no way. There's a chance that Square might be ranked Tim-tiered bad, maybe even horrible, but it will not be worse than EA. There's
I
not
hear
a
you, bro.
fucking chance.
I hear you, bro.
Until then, what's up, Greg?
Nothing. I was just gonna say. I think it's just they run the
Rock
risk.
and roll to the end of time.
I'll see you tomorrow on Twitch and everything. E3 keeps going. E3 subscribe, like, share, Amazon Prime.